It's time for City Beat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson, only on 610 CHTM.
Welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Jaret Schneider, and joining me today is City Manager Gary Ceppetelli. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Jared. It's a pleasure to be back.
Before we start things off, I'll give you a minute to run things down from the past week or two.
Sure. Obviously wanted to indicate that the Christmas parade that happened last weekend was resounding success, and I think that really the amount of people that came out to it really indicates sort of the worthwhile activity that it is, and I think it really instills a lot of pride in the community of people showing up, and it's something that's really cherished as a second annual one as well. I mean, obviously I think that we're in the time of the year where winter is really upon us, and urge that residents take care, and whether they're walking or driving, as changes on the streets and sidewalks can change fairly quickly.
All right, and you mentioned the snow. What are some of the priority routes for snow plowing?
Sure. Right now, the city has a priority schedule that is on our website. So if people want to sort of check as to what priority routes that there are, please visit the City of Thompson website under Public Works Scheduling. They'll sort of get a lot more detailed information as to what the priority areas are. Primarily, we have 4 priority areas in the city, with the 4th one really not taking effect till later in the year, where we're starting to clear some of the snowbanks and whatnot as they accumulate over the season. Priority 1 areas are really the main drags in the community. Priority 2 areas are sort of the ancillary major streets, and priority 3 are primarily the residential areas. So over the last little while, as we were hit with quite a substantial snowfall on Sunday, and continuing for the last couple of days with the wind really creating some of the blowing and drifting conditions. Right now we're currently just finishing up in our priority 2 areas, and really have moved into some of the priority 3 areas, and currently we're in the Burntwood and Deerwood areas today, and hope to finish those off, and really from a priority 3 standpoint, the only areas that are remaining are Riverside, Juniper, and a few streets in Eastwood.
204-677-8181. Taking your calls to City Manager Gary Ceppetelli. 204-677-8181. Now, we know that 75% of Manitoba Hydro's power comes through bipole 1 and 2 transmission lines, and we know that they're actually trying to put in a 3rd line to run down to the south. Have you heard anything on where they are with this, and any updates?
The latest that I've heard in regards to the information that the city has received is Manitoba Hydro is sort of currently in their final stages of for hearings for Bipole 3. I know that they are meeting in specific communities to sort of deal with issues that may result from the location of the line that's adjacent to certain communities. For instance, I believe that in Wabodin there was a meeting where certain sections of the line were changed due to concerns that were raised by residents in regards to wildlife migration and those things. So my understanding is that they're in that final stage in order to ensure the final route selection. Awesome.
And we got a call here from William, and his question is, there was a severe sewer backup yesterday on Cambridge Street in Eastwood area. If the city is proven liable, will they have any to cover the costs to repair the damage done?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if it's a result of the city is part of our process, it would be. My understanding here that the issue that was that happened up in the Eastwood area was on a private private service in that area. So I mean, we are I believe currently still in the area rectifying the situation.
Perfect. 204-677-8181. Taking your calls to City Manager Gary Ceppetelli. Going back to the transmission line, you mentioned that they are running through some of the small communities and things like that. How are they going to affect some of the small communities and around the northern towns, like Split Lake, for example?
Yeah. My understanding, really is that the location was done in conjunction with a number of meetings over the years, and as they tried to sort of make specific routes in certain areas, there is leeway from community input, of which was demonstrated, I believe, in the Wabodin area, where actual certain portions of the line selection was changed because of a caribou migration route.
204-677-8181. We have City Manager Gary Ceppetelli taking your calls. 204-677-8181. How will it affect Thompson and the economy in northern Manitoba?
I think, the impact of the line itself likely will have little impact on the city of Thompson. Once the generation station of Kiosk begins construction, I think from the impact that it'll have on the city is really more from an economic standpoint, where we've evidenced when Wasquatum was under construction, really that a lot of the commercial and businesses benefited in providing goods and services to Manitoba Hydro and the contractors that were building the dam.
204-677-8181. You guys were in Winnipeg last week with a couple of other members from council. What were those meetings for, and what types of things came up at them?
Sure. That was annually the Association of Manitoba Municipalities has their annual conference, and this year it was held in Winnipeg, and really you have involvement of the majority, if not all, communities or municipalities in Manitoba attend these sessions. There's an opportunity for councils throughout the province really to submit requests to meet with ministers. So it's an opportunity for the City of Thompson. We submitted a number of requests to meet with ministers to deal with certain issues. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get meetings set up with all of them, but we have in the past traveled to Winnipeg specifically to meet with ministers. So primarily it gives you that opportunity, but it also gives councils an opportunity to sort of network with each other to sort of see what some of the issues that they're dealing with and whatnot, and to sort of get up to speed. So I think that from the city's perspective, one of the benefits is that we're able to sort of talk to other municipalities that are urban and like size in nature to sort of see where some of their challenges are and sort of begin that dialogue between the communities. Okay,
so what types of things did you guys bring up at the meetings from a Thompson standpoint?
I think from a Thompson standpoint, really is one of the things that really is has a huge impact on our budget is the ongoing policing costs, of which residents are have to pay as part of the city's budget. Right now, our protective services budget is approximately 45% of the overall budget, of which that 45%, approximately 52% of it is for policing costs. As we have sort of taken a look at what we as a city pay in policing costs and what other like communities pay, such as Portage and Steinbach, which are basically the same size as the city of Thompson, is we approximately pay $1 million more than the city of Portage. So, I mean, the burden on the ratepayers is substantial. So, some of those things, I mean, we've had discussions with those other communities, but also had discussions with the Minister of Justice previous to the AMM convention, and submitted a letter to Premier Selinger indicating sort of these discrepancies, and that we're looking for some sort of consideration from the province on them.
204-677-8181. Taking your calls live to City Manager Gary Ceppetelli, 204-677-8181. You mentioned the policing costs, paying a little bit more, $1 million more than some of the other towns and cities. But other than that, what were some of the other issues brought up across the province that maybe are a little bit better here in Thompson?
Well, I mean, I think it's really the form itself of AMM is a little heavily weighted, sort of more from a rural perspective other than an urban, but there is an opportunity that some of the urban centers do get together and discuss the issues. But I mean, the issues that are faced by the bigger urban communities are the same things. I mean, even though that we pay substantially more than Steinbach and Portage, they do also have issues in regards to policing costs, costs in regards to sort of transient nature of populations and development pressures, things of that sort. So a lot of the issues that we face in Thompson are very similar in other municipalities across Manitoba.
204-677-8181. We have a city council meeting on Monday. Do you know what might come up on the agenda?
Well, right now is that we just prepared the agenda last night, and there is a delegation coming forth to council preparing or making a presentation on tourism. We have our Public Works Committee report that'll be put forth to council. Council has established a schedule where each one of the standing committees regularly reports back to council. And, so this week it's Public Works' turn to do it. There's a number of resolutions. I mean, really, that we have 3 that's going forth that are will be approving tenders that are currently out in regards to services or equipment that the city is looking at purchasing.
All right, 204-677-8181. If we go back to the policing costs, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that. Could you go into a little more detail as to What types of things came up with that?
Sure, I think it really is we wanted to sort of begin the discussions with the other communities, but also is to sort of inform the province as to the inequities in the current system. Currently, right now, the City of Thompson pays on a 70-30% funding formula for 38 police officers. The City of Portage la Prairie, which is the same size, at that 70-30 model, pays for 27 RCMP officers, whereas the City of Steinbach pays for 13. So you can sort of see, I mean, obviously the inequities in the system as to communities that are like size, as to what we are as ratepayers in our community are burdened with the costs and paying for RCMP costs. So I think the message is that with the province is that there needs to be, from the provincial standpoint, a serious look at sort of some of the funding models that are put into place to adequately address some of the regional issues that certain communities face.
All right, we're running out of time today, so before we go, I'll give you a minute to run things down.
Sure. I mean, just briefly as well, as I mean, we are still pursuing a report for to submit to Stats Canada on the census, which is in its final stages. So we're hoping to have that off before the end of the year, which is the deadline, and hopefully that we do get some good news out of that and really get a more accurate count of what our numbers are. We think that they're a lot larger than what is Stats Canada has us for, which has a huge financial impact on us this year. I believe we lost in excess of $300,000 out of our budget due to the per granting formulas. And just to close off, I mean, obviously, as we're in the Christmas season, there is a number of Christmas parties that are out there. So ensure that people take the care and precaution that if they are going out to these parties, that they either get a designated driver, take a cab, or phone Operation Red Nose. That'll
do it for City Beat this week. I would just like to thank Gary for stopping by. And I would also like to thank William for the call. Make sure to tune in every Thursday at 11:30 for a new episode of City Beat. And for all the viewers, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning at 11:30 with more.